And today, I blame the clout chasing, the internet beefing, people just the lawlessness and no respect for black life. King Von and NBA Youngboy was going back and forth on the internet live, like they're internet beefing live.
Right.
And so that internet beef literally affected their situation for somebody to get murdered.
Hip hop used to be fun. You know, we did have the gangster shit. You know, we had
By the
Ice-T.
way, I'm not sure if people know, but do you know what the 5 pillars, not like the b-boying, DJing, breakdancing, graffiti.
For sure.
Right? But the actual pillars are peace, love, unity, and having fun.
Okay.
Right? That's what the core of hip-hop is from those pillars.
Which is since long lost and gone.
Yes, but I'm just trying to make sure that people know.
That's
if
good
you get
education.
into the root of it, that's what it was about. The
Right.
community, it started these people, they couldn't go to fucking, I remember Andre Harrell, he used to tell me, he was like, we tried to go downtown, they wouldn't let us in, right? Only the people that fuck with us was the punk rockers. That's how Madonna gets in the mix with us. And no, we're like the outlaws, you know what I mean? And we come from a culture where there's no music education. So hip hop is created out of nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I want to make sure people know that's what the reason was before we got into the guns and the girls and the lean and all of that.
Because, I mean, if you start, like you said, from the inception, it was Sugar Hill Gang, it was party, it was fun. Then you had Grandmaster Flash, who did the message.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So it became informative.
Correct.
Now, once we kind of moved to the West Coast, of course, we have the emergence of Ice-T. But even still with Ice-T and the gangster shit, you had the balance of, at least he always told you what the other side of the gangster shit was.
Correct.
So it was balanced. Then we get to NWA, we have it where it's kind of first-person gangster shit, where it's not, I'm not talking about the shit that's going on, but I am that.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So where do you think that it just went all bad to where we are now? Like, what do you think that cause is? Do you think that it's a myriad of things, or do you think that it was, what's your take on it? We got the crack era. I mean, where did it just become so vicious and violent to where it came off a record and now where we are now? What do you think that's attributed to? Because you've seen it all.
That's a really great question. It's a tough one. I mean, you could point to Tupac and Biggie when it became more dangerous to just, I remember when that whole climate, 94, 95, 96 or whatever, after the Source Awards in 95 obviously was the catalyst and some other things that happened with Sugar, whatever. But once it got off the record and that it was dangerous to be in a city, when I was in New York and people were like, yo, you from the West Coast? And like, I didn't really want to say I was from Cali. And then I'm in LA and people from New York was like, I don't want to come out here. It became dangerous where the street life got involved. My new show, Hip Hop Homicides, which I'm sure we'll talk about. One of the things that the guy said in there is that you can't mix streets and the music, right? The streets is one thing, and 50 talks about it, 50 Cent. Once it got to where Pac got shot for literally some blood crip shit, if you want to get into the real of it.
Exactly.
And
that's
then
what
Suge
it is.
got into that or whatever, and Big died. I think that was the place when it became not just about the music and partying. NWA, you could say, it was violent, or they would, really they were just telling their stories.
Right.
Public Enemy, to some extent, were telling their story about growing up in Long Island. But I think in that mid-'90s or whatever, and today, I blame the clout chasing, the internet beefing, people on guns, and just the lawlessness and no respect for black life. But if you really, to me, around the early 90s, because we tried to get the gang stuff better. Early 90s, there was a lot of truce stuff. So we was trying to Minister Farrakhan, even Tupac, we were trying to, do right. And it wasn't dangerous to be a rapper. I remember when the rapper was celebrated.
Right.
The DJ was celebrated. People like, oh my God, I can't wait to get an autograph from Too Short. Oh my God, is that Biggie Smalls?
Yeah.
And then it became, damn, we should go rob Pop Smoke.
Right. But now if we go ahead.
Sorry, were you there at the Source Awards, 95?
Yes. No, sorry, 94. I was in 94. I wasn't at 95.
Oh, okay.
94, the year before when Tupac threw the mic down and after he went to Tribe Called Quest. But no, 95 I wasn't there. But I did produce the ones, obviously. 99, 2000, 2001, I wrote and produced all of those Source Awards.
So is it fair to say, though, right, just pushing back on that, devil's advocate, I mean, there were rappers getting robbed back in the day. We just didn't have the internet to talk about it.
But it just wasn't, let me kill you.
This is true. This is true.
Let me walk into Roscoe's in the middle of the afternoon.
No, this is true.
And rob you while your girl is there.
True.
People's eating a chicken and waffles.
And
your daddy is waiting outside in a car while you just saw your son go murder somebody.
Yeah. Now, Yes,
That's a difference, right?
That is a difference.
Right.
But but what I'm saying is that's not hip hop though, right? So what I'm saying is, do we have niggas just doing nigga shit and just happen to be rappers doing nigga shit,
100%.
or is it the genre? You see what I'm
think
saying
it's both.
with that?
The one thing I'll say is people have asked me about this because obviously the show I just did,
Right.
is that this part, which I think 50 says really well. I think, and then by the way, when we talk about the show, 50 hip hop homicides came because 50 got shot and he lived through it and he was very close to Pop and that broke his heart, right? And that this kid who I liked and he was suspicious about how it happened. Once you get, the problem is that you become famous because of how hard or gangster or how many bitches you got or how you can pop your ass or whatever girl, whatever it is. But then you can't stay in that world, in that environment because, rest in peace, my man Takeoff.
Yep.
You got to be smart. You can't be in at 3 a.m. doing whatever. You can't still be in environments and be a superstar because, excuse my language, but just niggas is out of control.
Yeah.
And they're off the lean. They're off Percocet. These young boys don't give a fuck. They're doing whatever. So you got to be smart about where you put yourself. So to answer your question, yes, niggas are doing nigga shit. But once you become 50, Takeoff, once you become P&B Rock, I was with Fabio Foreign when we did the hip hop homicides, and he had a security guard walking around with him everywhere. And I don't think that that's cool. That's not what I did all of this work for 25, 30 years for y'all to have to live like that. But at this point, the lawlessness and the disrespect for life is at a place that I can't even put you can't even talk to kids anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you be able to talk to people and figure it out.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. They all got guns. They don't care. And it's just like a disrespect. But I think it's not just the music. It's systemic. It's the lack of, opportunities in those communities, the lack of fathers in some of these guys, the lack of OGs telling them what the hell you're doing. There's no code. It's just a free-for-all. And I think we're in a political climate where people are stressed and have anxiety from the government, from Donald Trump to the streets to COVID. So it's like the perfect storm of bad things happening.
Yeah.
And I will say that the social media part of it,
Yes.
the clout chasing,
it exacerbates
let me
it.
wave my gun, let me threaten you. Our show Hip Hop Homicides, which premiered on WeTV, NBA Youngboy, we did an episode on King Von. King Von and NBA Youngboy was going back and forth on the internet live, like they're internet beefing live.
Right.
And so that internet beef literally affected their situation for somebody to get murdered.
For sure.
It was a different things that happened to get to that place, but he ends up punching a guy.
Yep.
That guy, the other guy shoots him. You know what I mean? It kills him. But the internet was the basis. Mo3, another artist that we did in Dallas, he was beefing back and forth with some guys in Texas. And I think he might have posted a video of him and one of the guy's baby mamas with his kids' chains on. The guy's, kids had Mo3's chains on. And homeboy wasn't having that.
Right.
And he tracked him and shot him down in the middle of the day on the freeway.
Yeah.
All traced back to social media.
Exactly. Real shit. So doing the show Hip Hop Homicide, so I mean you see a common thing that it has nothing to do with, like we say, rap beef. This is bullshit and street shit that just happens to come through rap.
You're correct.
I'm holding court, standing trial. Why ain't I see you round back when I was down? Karma's on the way. What goes around comes around. Karma's on the way. There's nothing you could do now. You gotta pay.